Hey, everybody, welcome to this Xbox Life episode 506, Wingman's Final Flight. My name is Rob, also known as Presar on Xbox Live, and with me, I have two of the hosts with the mosts. Number one, I got my good buddy Mark, also known as Wingman,
Hey everybody, how you doing?
and I'm trying to think of a fun way to say this. Brun, the man with the fun in the sun. How's that?
Hey, everybody.
If you guys might remember this handsome gent underneath me, right? He was on not too long ago, episode 500. And welcome back, Brun,
Oh, thank you.
for this sad occasion, I guess.
Yes,
Yes.
very sad. But
Yes.
everybody's gotta, you know, fly, spread their wings and fly sometimes. Leave the
Yes.
nest.
Fly, Robin, fly. Or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, for those folks that aren't in the know, this is going to be, I guess, as the episode name says there, it's Wings Final Flight. So he's making it through episode 506, and then he is hopefully not going to say goodbye. He's going to say see you later, right?
No, I'm out of here. Hasta la bye bye. See, you wouldn't want to be ya.
You're going to sell your Xbox and buy like a
Oh god,
macrame kit instead.
I'm gonna have
New
more
hobby.
time to play my Xbox now.
Yeah. You'll be amazed on how much time and gaming time you actually will have after leaving and because a lot of people who don't stream or do things like this, they don't realize the time that it takes having to keep up with everything, and sometimes instead of playing games you're actually reading more about games just to prepare for things. So
It's a labor of love.
Yep,
yep.
I'm not reading anything anymore. I'm getting all my news from
From
Rob.
Facebook,
I hate Facebook.
the fake news channel or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I will probably, if Rob asks me to come on, 6 months from now for one show, I might
6
do
years from
that.
now.
6 years from now, yeah. Maybe I'll do that, but that's it. I might make a guest appearance every now and then.
The thought
That's
of
it. Yeah.
the thought of broadcasting again is just like sends you into twitches and convulsions, like a PTSD.
And I know I quote retired once before and then 2 weeks later I was back, but this time, honestly, this time is very different. Um, I'm actually I'm last time I was sad, you know. This time I'm like, I'm just ready. I'm just, it's been like 12 years, man. I'm really I think I'm tired of it. I'm just tired. It's been a long time, so ready to move on.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Get to do the guest spots. Like I think this is my second show since I retired, so I know what it's
Is
like.
it?
It's fun to come back and talk with you guys.
It's just like
You
old
know,
times.
yeah, episode 500 was awesome. This one I was excited, sad and excited to be on at the same time. Um, but yeah, because it's always like I do miss getting on here and talking with you guys. Like, so that's the part I do miss, but all the work and stuff behind it and issues and things like that, it's never fun. So
Yeah. Technical issues persist
yeah,
for some
yeah.
reason. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so real quick, make sure to listen to us on Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube on Sundays, 11 p.m. Eastern. And please adjust for your time zone, if you will. And then it's also a quick note, we are not affiliated with Microsoft or the Xbox in any way. This is a show being done by fans for fans of the Microsoft Xbox. The views and opinions expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect those of Microsoft. All right. And there was something else I was going to say, but I don't remember what it is now. Nice. Anyway, but so what have you guys been playing? How about you, Mark? What you
I've
got?
been playing some Black Ops 4, lots of multiplayer. I did get in some blackout mode. I think it was last weekend. No, did I talk about this last weekend?
I think you talked about it a little bit. Yeah.
That I did play. Okay, so then I didn't play since then, but I've played a lot of multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really close to my first prestige. I know I'm slow. Most COD players have done it 10 times already, but I finally hit level 55 and I'm about halfway to the prestige point there, so pretty close. I'm having fun with it. I really am enjoying this game, even though there's times I get really irritated. But it's I don't know. I'm back. I'm enjoying it, and it's really fun. Been playing some Far Cry 5, working my way through that for that last stupid achievement where I got to play the entire game on New Game Plus on the hardest mode. So um, it's just it, and I really don't even want to do it, but it's one achievement left, and it's like I don't want to leave the one hanging out there. So comrades helping me get through that.
I'd say
So
definitely when you've already done it and it
yeah,
didn't give it to you.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah, yeah. Thank you, Ubisoft.
yeah.
Um, I also played Ori in the Blind Forest, and I'm done with it. As in, I'm not gonna launch it again. Um, what a frustrating game, man. Oh, game looks great. It's a beautiful game, but it's frustrating as can be. I just can't take games that are that the platformy, hard platformy games. Just they don't work for me. It is, and it's sad because it's a really pretty game, but yeah, I'm not. I'm done with it. And then, interesting. Excuse me. I've been real excited for Just Cause 4, which is coming out on December 4th, and I've played Just Cause 2, Just Cause 3, and 4, and never played the original. And I always kind of assumed it was original Xbox game. Well, it is, but it was also on the original or on the 360, which I was not aware of. And so I kind of did, I kind of looked it up just to see, you know, what the deal was. And it is available. And I ended up getting it the other day. It was $10 digitally. It's a 360 version and started playing the original Just Cause game. And I can tell you this, if I had played Just Cause, the first game first, I would have never played the rest of them. Wow, is this I mean, this game's 10 years old, but it
Yeah.
feels more like 20. Um, it's no, it's gotta be more than that. I thought it said 2008. It's gotta be more than that. Um, but it's rough, man. It is rough. Um, but I'm gonna see how far I can get through it. But, I would like to at least try to finish the story, but because I love the series before going back to an original game is really hard to do when we've been spoiled on modern gaming, it's just, the games control so much better and it's just like they look so much better, and, like, driving a car in the original Just Cause is terrible, like, you barely move the stick and you're careening off the side of the road, and, the gunplay is just it looks like you can, like, hold your left trigger or there I can't remember what it was, but you can do something to go they call it over the shoulder, but basically it's like what we're used to normal sights. Um, so you can select the guys, but if you don't do that, and it just kind of auto locks onto them. You just kind of turn your guy in that direction and you get a big circle on him and you just hold the trigger buttons and he just shoots and they
Just kind of
eventually
turn your
die. And
guy.
I'm like, okay, this is just really corny. But so it's interesting to go back and see it, but um, I do want to play it and see what the original game had compared to like because I'm curious if like do I know I got a parachute, But like, is the grappling hook in there and stuff like that? I'm curious to see how this game progresses and what changed between the first and second one. It's rough to go back and play this old game, but that's what I've done this week.
Yeah,
How
it's
about you,
rough.
Brun?
It's rough to go back to a lot of games, unfortunately. Even ones that you're
Yeah,
like really that you loved back then. But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Brun.
So mine's easy. I've just been pretty much playing Destiny 2. Um, I play on the PC. I know when I first started playing, I got a message within minutes from Mark saying PC or Xbox, and I was like, PC. Is like, oh, but no, I got it when it was with the $39 sale or something like that for everything, except
Yeah.
for a season pass, which there's only one publisher or company doing season passes these days, and I didn't buy the season pass for it because I don't see really what you're getting out of the season pass, um, besides a few new weapons or something like that. But I've been working on a warlock. I'm up to level 5593 or something like that of 600. So I almost have one character maxed
Wow.
out. I've been making some of my friends mad because I seem to be unlocking all of the new exotics. So I got like the new exotic sword. I got the Cerberus +1. I got the two-tailed fox, and that's my buddy's like, "What? You got the two-tailed fox?" I'm like, "Yep, that one's cool, which is a cool rocket launcher." Um, but I've just been playing that, and I've been playing Red Dead 2, which for everybody on here that knows me, I have a hard time completing games. I'm having fun with Red Dead, but I'm just playing it just like a little bit here, a little bit there, not to burn myself out. Um, it's fun. I don't like how slow my character moves most of the time. I don't like mashing the A button to go somewhere, but other than that, everything seems to be okay. Um, it's just it's just slow. That's
Eh,
one of its
Yep.
things. And everybody I've talked to is like, get through the first 6 hours, like, and
Nice.
well, it's better than the 20 hour,
Yeah.
whatever warm up for some games. But they said this game's like a roller coaster. So like it'll like you'll start up, you'll go up, and then it'll go down and slow down and go up and it'll come down. So it's not like a constant. When you get games that's this big, you always hear developers like, yeah, the best part of the game is the first 10 hours, and then it kind of trails off because everybody sees the first 10 hours and not very many people see the last 30. This one here seems to be spread out you know pretty wide, so ups and downs. I said just keep playing it. Most of the people just mainline the story that I've talked to so far, and then they go back and do the other stuff afterwards. So um other than that, that's it. I've been looking to see if I want to get into Battlefield 5. I've seen some positive and negatives there. I heard it's like their best worst version of Battlefield, which is kind of weird to hear. They said as soon as they fix some of the bugs and issues, they said it'll probably be the best Battlefield that's been made.
Oh wow.
So my thing is I'll wait till they do that.
I heard that the movement is like Call of Duty now.
So they got rid of suppression, which is great, and it's a lot more skill based, which is something that is good. But as far as movement wise, I've been watching people play. I haven't seen anything that reminds me of a Call of Duty. Um, but that's actually another game I want to try. But I'm just interested in Blackout. I'm not really interested in everything else.
Blackout's
Uh,
really good.
yeah, and I had fun doing that, but I'm not paying $60 for a game
Do it.
game mode that
Do
is
it.
otherwise free somewhere else or $30. So
Yeah, but for free, you're getting to playing with all the children.
yep.
For $30, you get a game that runs like crap and and has
Hmm.
a key PC centric inventory system. For the
Right.
$60, you get an extremely polished, extremely console centric inventory system, and the game just works. It's I've had absolutely no issues or problems in
Yeah.
this mode. and I've actually been able to kill people.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, man. It really is.
And I'd be playing on PC, so I prefer and I believe their inventory may be a little different between the two. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't seen many people playing it on the other way. The only thing
Yeah.
that gets me about the $60 price tag on theirs is I wish we would know what their long-term roadmap is for it, if that makes sense. So, like in the next Call of Duty, because we know Call of Duty's coming in less than 12 months from now.
Yeah, they'll have a new blackout mode.
Well, will they, or will they be adding on to Blackout, or will they be branching off Blackout into its own thing? You know what I mean? Like, are they going to be keeping this version of Blackout, or is it going to be, okay, here's a new Blackout. We're going to have the same, because the map is built out of multiple other maps. You know what I mean? How they did that. So I'm just kind of curious on what they're going to do with it. Like, what's their goal for Blackout? Because if it's something where it's like, hey, this Blackout that you got by buying this version of Call of Duty is going to be the same Blackout that's sold with the next Call of Duty. So you're going to be able to continue to play it even if you don't buy the next Call of Duty, then sure. I don't see anything wrong with paying for that. Is that, you guys understand where I'm going with that? But if
Yeah.
it's going to be like,
Yeah.
oh no, this Blackout's only good for 11 months, then I'll be like, nah, I'll just wait.
Well,
So
it'll still be there and I mean, you can play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 right now. Or I mean Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 online. So this blackout's going to be available. I would imagine, and I don't have a crystal ball and I don't work for them. I obviously don't know either, but
all right,
I would imagine that they're gonna, you know, and different devs are doing different things. So
right.
maybe this will only be with who did this one? Is this Infinity Ward or
The Blackout mode was by an entirely different team.
yeah? But I'm trying to think of who did Black
Treyarch did
Ops.
this.
Treyarch, that's
Treyarch
right.
did this one. Mm-hmm.
So maybe it'll be just part of the Treyarch every 3 years.
Yeah.
But they typically will do 1 year of map updates and that's it.
Yeah.
They never do another season because they got a new Call of Duty. So I would imagine, I know if you buy the season pass or whatever it's called now, you will get another map update. I don't know if it's one or more maps for Blackout, but um, I would imagine that you'll see another Blackout mode in the next game, and it has nothing to do with Blops 4. It's going to be its
So
own separate. That's what I would expect, just like every Call of Duty
hmm,
prior.
okay.
So, but
That's it.
the thing is, people are like, well, I don't want to pay $60 for it. But the thing is, dude, it works. I mean, it works. That's the thing. You're paying for. This is a AAA developer, maybe quadruple A developer. The online is smooth. It's fast. It's quick. It works. It's so many crashes, so many issues with PUBG, um,
I've
and
never
it's just
crashed in PUBG. People say it crashes all the time. I've never crashed in PUBG.
oh yeah,
I've been playing it for
well,
almost 2 years now, and well, unless
on
we're talking
PC.
PC, I'm talking PC,
I'm
of
I'm
course.
talking console, so
Oh yeah,
um,
the console
it,
one is kind of junk in
yeah.
my mind, but
So, but that's where I'm
so,
looking at it. I'm coming from the
oh
console
okay,
side, so
yeah,
but
and I'm coming from the PC side, so yeah.
yeah, so the game works great, which makes it fun because it's like, oh,
Mm,
you're gonna be able to finish and play the game, and it runs smooth, and stuff is just super easy to select, and it's just they've done a great job.
yeah,
It's not just a PC port and like trying to make it fit. They built this for the PC. I mean, they built this for the
console.
console,
Hmm.
and it works and it shows. So it's like I'm grateful for the time and dedication and work that was put into this game. So
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
had,
worth
like I
it. But
said,
I understand
I was in
where
the
you're coming from.
beta. I was in the beta and loved it, loved it. So, but yeah, but it's just one of those weird things where it's almost like I feel like they should break it out. Sell it for 30
Yeah,
bucks, have that go its one way, and then make out the next Call of Duty, sell it for 30 bucks since they're only doing multiplayer from here on out. Um, and just keep it that way, and keep it going because, if they want to do seasons or do skins and stuff like that, say similar to a Fortnite, you can't really sell something for $60 and say, "Hey, spend more money," because that really doesn't work. They're finding that out with Destiny. But if it's even PUBG, like I don't buy any extra stuff in PUBG. I paid $30 for PUBG. I'm not giving them any more money. But Fortnite was like, here's something for free. Please support us through this, and
Yeah.
it's working great for them because people are like, you know
Well,
what, I will support you.
they're making bank.
Oh my gosh, that's not even
Yeah.
funny how much they're making. So, but yeah, and we'll see what the Battlefield one is when it
And
comes out.
and Cornbread in the chats even confirmed that he has seen me kill people so in blackouts. So
Yeah.
I got proof.
Oh, I believe you.
So. And if you want to know about it, just talk to the Cornbread because man, he has played a lot of blackout. So
He got away from his horse game, whatever that game he says his daughter's playing.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
putting some time into blackout, a lot of time. So
Yeah.
he's good. I like just following him around. I'm like, okay, I'll just go where he goes.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, sorry to get on a sidetrack, but that's, Destiny, as Lethal was saying in the chat, is Destiny is not a very good game. I beg to differ. I'm having a lot of fun with it. For a game that Activision says is not successful, blows my mind how they're saying that. But
yeah, I really enjoyed Destiny too.
mm,
Um, I was with you. I'm never buying this. I'm not supporting them. And I don't know. One day it was like, I think it was what I got everything from
Hi,
the
everyone.
first
Rick
part
the
of
Cheapskate.
Destiny 2 plus all the expansions for what did I get it for like $17?
yeah. Well, see,
I was like,
that's the
okay,
thing is,
I'll do that. But then it sucked me in and I paid full price for the Forsaken and all of that.
yeah, yeah. So
So
yeah, I got everything for $40, and that's my thing. Is like I wasn't buying Destiny until I got all the content from the first one that I paid for, which I got
right.
1 month after Destiny 2. And then I was like, you know what? I'll support them when the game's cheaper. I'll still support them, but they're
Right.
not getting a full $60 out of me. So that's just
Right.
that's just the way it was. And it was good because I got to play other games that I probably would have never played before. So, but all right, that's it. Rob, what have you been playing?
Playing a bunch of Fortnite, and it's the Save the World variety, not the Battle Royale. I'm finding the Save the World portion is a lot more fun. It's a much different experience than Battle Royale. If you haven't tried Save the World, but you have Battle Royale, give Save the World a try. It was, what, half price about a week or two ago? But they recently had the Fortnitemares event, so I actually finished that and just plugging away at the regular stuff. And they had a massive, massive interface change, and they actually changed quite a bit in the game for Save the World, where you're no longer chasing a skill tree. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Oh, like
Or
the skill tree is insane.
yeah, but I got quite far on it, which it kind of irritated me a little bit. But they compensated people with the changes. So I guess with the new system that they have in place, they kind of see what you missed out on. And when they did the change, was it Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, I think it was, when you logged in the next time, you got 2 gift boxes, and it was like 95 items across both of them.
Wow.
Just tons of stuff. Huge amount of survivor XP, hero XP, ton of stuff. And it it's going to take a while just to get used to the new changes, but it's pretty good. They also changed the stories as well, so there's a lot of dialogue that happens as you progress in the levels, where there's that little robot Ray, and she introduces people. Now there's a couple YouTube videos out there that actually have all of the dialogue from the entire like Stonewood campaign. So
Yeah.
this one guy, just after the update, after the 6.3 update, this dude just crammed, and he played the game nonstop, played all of Stonewood, and recorded all of the new dialogue. And he posted it. It's like 20 minutes for like the first 6 pages, and then I forget how much it is for the second video, which I think was a couple more pages. But it's cool. I always thought Ray was funny, a little robot, just the way that she was. And there's interaction now with Lars. And for those of you that have played it, you'll know who these characters are. But a little bit of comedy. It's not totally, stiff, straight laced and all that. But it's pretty good. And I know some folks kind of roll their eyes when they hear Fortnite. And unfortunately, the Fortnite everybody knows is the free to play, the one that all the 10-year-olds are playing, and the battle royale mode and all. And the other mode, which I think is actually more fun, is largely ignored by everybody. But it's a cool game. Definitely give it a shot. Another game that I kind of been going back to now for like the last week or two is Kingdom New Lands. And Jesus Walks a Lot posted on Facebook that he gave it a try after I talked about it last week. And that kind of renewed my Kingdom New Landed desire to play play that game. And it's a lot of fun. It's free right now in Game Pass. It's also on sale as part of the sale that's going on right now for Black Friday. And it's a fantastic game. The new game's coming out shortly, the follow-up. So there was Kingdom, then there was Kingdom New Lands, and now it's Kingdom Two Crowns. And I think I mentioned how, first of all, that the game's a big time sink, and that hasn't changed. So it's definitely still a big time sink. But I have never gotten off the first island. It's totally frustrating at times because it's like a side-scrolling tower defense type of game, sort of. And after a certain point, I either screw something up or whatnot, and I just get overrun and I can never recover. And then I start a new game and rinse, repeat. But I actually did something that I had never wanted to do before, and that was I looked up some tips on how to play the game. And there was this one video that I watched where the guy gave 5 tips, and it's like gold. So there's not much of a manual for the game. You sit there, you kind of go through it, and you kind of figure it out. Well, apparently I was missing a whole bunch of things, which can kind of, I don't know, make or break, I guess, the gameplay for you. And if you're going to be trying it, just a couple things to know that at least weren't readily apparent to me. And that's that, well, first of all, there's this little merchant dude that you give him a coin and he comes back with like, I don't know, 5, 10 coins. When you build up your castle or whatever, your town hall big enough, there's a dude that sits out in front of it. Had no idea what this guy was for. I mean, nothing really made sense before. And it turns out he's like a banker or something. So whatever you get from the merchant, just give it to him. And then he'll give it back to you with interest. And so if you keep doing this, then you just like just have more money than you know what to do with. and it's true. Within a couple of days, it's your little money bag overfills. And then another thing is your archers can produce more money than farms. So just get a ton of archers, clear out a lot of stuff, and make sure to have a lot of empty space with grass, because that's where the rabbits repopulate themselves. I guess that's a good way to put it. And your archers get them, and so you get a ton of money. And those 2 things, like money was huge for me in that game. And then the rest is kind of up to you, just how to defend yourself and so forth. But it's a fantastic game. I'm looking forward to the new one. And And then I'm going to give a plug also to something that is coming soon. It's coming in a couple weeks here. Supercell, the makers of Clash Royale, one of
Oh
my
boy, I
favorite
knew this
mobile
was coming.
games. They're coming out with a new game. Actually, so it's been out for about a year and a half now. It's called Brawl Stars, and it's finally getting a global release. They announced that this past week. So if you're in the US, you can pre register for the game. It's coming out in December, I believe. If you're in some of the other countries, like our neighbors to the north, Canada, they've had it for some time now. Because they're one of the 14 countries that the game was soft launched in to, while they were beta testing the game. But it's a lot of fun. It's not like Clash Royale. It's not like, you know, um, Clash of Clans or any of those. It's a lot of fun, and I've been playing it for some time um, on the Canadian servers, and I can't wait for it to be officially launched here in the U.S. so I can play with my normal account. And I'll be making a. We've got the Justice clan right now for Clash Royale. We'll be making a Justice Clan one for Brawl Stars. They call them bands. They're not clans. But look for that one. It's a lot of fun. Another game. It's like a quick diversion where you can play, games in like 2-3 minutes or sometimes less, depending on how good you are. But it's good stuff. Highly recommended. And I think that's about it. I think that's it. Alrighty. So a couple quick announcements. You can support us on Patreon at thisxboxlife.com/Patreon. And also, if you'd like to leave us a tip, you can go to thisxboxlife.com/donate. Also, don't forget to catch us on Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube. Subscribe, hit the little bell, like our shows, all that good stuff. And I think we're on to the roundtable. Mark, you want to take this first one here?
Oh, I
I
suppose.
suppose.
Yeah, multitasking. So the first thing is the November update for Xbox has begun rolling out, and of course, with this comes a bunch of new stuff. So they've done. So this adds the mouse and keyboard support for Xbox One, which we talked about before. This also has some Xbox. There's a Xbox skill for Cortana and Alexa updates. There's Alexa beta for the UK and Cortana improvements, and then new commands have been added. So in response to feedback, they've added a few new commands to both Cortana and the Alexa skill. Now you have the ability to fully close a game or app via quit, then the game or the app name, or use your assistant as a controller with a new navigation mode. So you can use your voice to hit the A button or navigate around your console, up, down, left, right, A button, B button, stuff like that. So you truly can navigate without a controller. The Amazon Music app is now on Xbox One, and they've done a search expansion. So they've expanded searches to include results from Xbox Assist and games you have ready to install or currently owned as part of your membership, including Game Pass, EA Access, and more. So it makes it easier to find the things that you're looking for. So that is in the latest update. The
Two.
next,
Good stuff.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to wonder. I've been looking and I haven't found anything. So I stream the Xbox through the Xbox app on my PC every once in a while. Somebody's watching the TV, I'll just stream in here and play from here because it works really, really well. Of course, I got to plug my controller into my PC to get it to work. Do you guys know, or have you seen anything where it's saying maybe mouse and keyboard support might come through that? Because that would be awesome if it did.
Oh yeah, it would.
Because then basically, the games that support it, I don't have to have my keyboard and mouse plugged into my Xbox. I can actually stream to my computer that has my keyboard and mouse. Because it would be nice.
Yeah, I don't. Right now, I think it's just plug it into your console.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I think you're right. I just didn't know if you guys might have seen something. I don't. I'd have to see if it's been applied to my Xbox yet to give it a shot. So, all right,
Yeah, that would be
those are-
awesome, but maybe in another, I don't know, couple months, years, they might do that.
Got to go to user feedback. Make sure they know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
upload it.
yeah. Cool. All right. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. So I mentioned last week that I got Crackdown 3 installed on my Xbox. So that was not a special thing. It was just the first. But now Xbox Game Pass now lets you preload games, which is really cool because like when Forza came out, I'm sorry, Forza Horizon 4 came out, or State of Decay 2, um, Sea of Thieves. These were all available in Game Pass. So you didn't have to pay extra money. You got them as part of your Game Pass subscription, but you couldn't install them or start downloading them until the game went live. So so if you had bought it, you could pre-install it, and then you could play it right at 12:01 midnight when it launched on the East Coast. But for Game Pass people, you had to wait. Like at first, it wasn't even there at that moment. You had to wait till the next day when they put it in, and made it available. And then I think one of the last ones at 12:01, it was ready to install in Game Pass. Well, now you can and preload those games now. So as soon as the game is live, Game Pass members can play and not have to just start the download. So that's pretty cool. It's now, on par with, everything else. So that's really cool. So it wasn't a one-time thing. That is now preloading is part of Game Pass.
So I preloaded Crackdown 3 a couple of days ago, and then I went out today, and the game was removed, and I went back, and it said the game was canceled.
Shut
Did
up.
yours?
You're just a liar. You're so full of crap. I'm not falling for it.
No, I preloaded
now,
mine as
now,
well.
now the audience knows why you didn't retire. You were kicked off the show.
Yes. So no, I preloaded mine as
You
well.
anti-crackdown person, you.
No, I'm excited. I'm ready to play it. That's why I got a Game Pass.
So, but yeah, good stuff. So let's see, what else do I have for us today? Oh, okay, guys. This is I think we've mentioned this before. I'm pretty sure
Oh,
we did.
many times.
Yeah.
So Microsoft is building. Well, so this is a little bit different. It's a little twist on what we've talked about before. So we've talked about how in 2020 that Microsoft is going to be making two consoles. And we've talked about how we speculated one was going to not have a disc. It was going to basically be a streaming box.
Yep.
And then how the other one was going to be your normal uh, box that we're used to, your normal console that we're used to. Well, Microsoft is going to be releasing a new Xbox One S in 2019 that does not have a disk drive in it. So again, like myself, I have no problem with this. I've been diskless since the Xbox One, and I've had no problem with it. Um, I don't, nowadays it's like if I put a disc in, it's like to watch a movie, but most of my movies I stream anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just I don't have many DVDs left or Blu-ray discs that I watch. So it really, to me, this is where the future is going. And so what's nice about this, I think, is later, probably late 2019, we'll see a discless Xbox One S. So which would this obviously without that drive will lower the cost even further.
Well,
Um,
it would be
Yeah.
interesting to see how much it would lower it because, first of all, drives aren't super expensive anymore. At least I don't think. Well, but it is Blu-ray. But I think they would forego the whole Blu-ray cost, right?
Yeah, you
For
won't have to pay for
licensing.
the licensing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not because not only the drive but the licensing they pay for every single console.
Yeah.
They don't have to
Yeah.
pay that anymore.
And the drives aren't expensive. You're right on that, but the thing is the drives are still kind of big.
Yes.
So not only are they going to be saving by not putting that drive in there, is how much what's the form factor they're going to get? Are they going to shrink it down to use less plastics and less this and less that to even save more money. My thought was I was going to ask you guys what do you think price wise are they going to target? Are they going to try to get to that like $99 price point, or are they going to be like a $149 price point, or you think they're going to get that low, or
I myself, I would imagine 149. Um, and I would not be surprised to see this thing get down to $99 eventually.
That'd be
yeah.
awesome.
But because what are they're what 199 right now, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I just yeah, I think 149 is not that far off.
Yeah, agreed.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
So
Now just do it with the X. Make it
yeah.
cheaper.
So on top of that too, there's another story that I heard um, that Microsoft, and this is coming from Brad Sams and Paul Thurrott. They were talking about how Microsoft is working on this disk to digital. Oh, actually, um, it's in their same article. You so this disk to digital program, you can take your discs into a Microsoft store, and they will basically turn those physical games into digital downloads. So
Oh
if
wow.
you have a concern of like, well, I don't want just a digital all digital console doesn't work for me because of my discs, they can turn those into digital for you. And
Is
That's
that
cool.
I
going
don't
on now
this
or
is
it's
going
coming?
to I don't know when this starts. It says in 2019 the company is planning to release this. Oh, sorry, hold on. In addition, they will be do a disc to digital program that turns your physical games into digital downloads. The idea is you can take your disc to a participating retailer like the Microsoft Store, and so a participating retailer tells me it's not just a Microsoft Store.
Yeah.
Anybody that they work with will be able to do it. So maybe Best Buys and WalMarts, and trade in your disc for a digital download. Uh, the goal with the new console is to lower the price for the hardware. Currently, they're saying it costs $300 to buy into the Xbox One family of devices. That's not right. It's not $300 for a
Hmm.
an S, is it? It's 200, right?
I think that's the sale price because they were 299, weren't they, when they first came out? And now with some of the steep discounts they've been having, they're like sub 250, 199 ish.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So, well, yeah. So, but they don't. So this is a program they're planning to do. So I would say this program will come out probably sometime next year, prior to this new discless console. So,
So,
Yeah, I mean,
but
I was just in a Microsoft store, and if you go to the games section, it's interesting because they have like 4 copies of Madden 19, and then they got a whole stack of Madden 19 cards, which is the
yeah,
digital download version of it. So it's
right.
probably just you walk in, you hand them the disc, they look at it, and then hand you a card, and you walk out with it. Unless they're going to charge you a little bit for it. I know DVDs and Blu-rays did this a while back, and it was like $5 because you're basically paying for licensing and stuff. So
mm,
Yeah, well, we'll have to find out. I guess Rob can share more when that info comes out.
true.
like I would love that because there's, I think there's only two games that I have that are physical copies, and I would just love to get rid of them.
Which ones are they?
The original Wolfenstein and I think Watch Dogs.
Okay,
Not
I
that I
think
would play
Watchdog.
them.
Like
Not that I would play
Watch.
them very often, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, you may be able to look both of those up and get them for like $9.99 just in
Yeah.
digital format, anyways.
Right.
So
Save the
Cornbread
money of
says
gas.
$229.99 for an Xbox One S, 1 terabyte at Best Buy.
Yeah, that's. So I think we can get it down under 200, and I think Paul and Brad were saying 169 is what they were figuring the price to be on this new one. But I mean, that's another year away. Stuff's still going to continue to get cheaper. So maybe by then we can get it down to the 149. It's coming. It's a good
Yeah.
idea, I think. Also, you can now, if you want to get a custom controller, you can now do this right from your Xbox. So they brought the Design Lab controller customization service. to the Xbox One, so you can now design a new controller using the controller you wish to replace. This is now available, so you can let's see. It says experience right from your Xbox One dashboard or the Microsoft Store app on your PC. They've streamlined the design experience, so there are fewer clicks between you and your personal controller. They added the convenience. The checkout process will auto-populate any information you stored in your account. Microsoft launched Xbox Design Labs in 2016, and since has brought the service to multiple locales. If you place a new Xbox Design Lab order on or on between Friday, November 23rd, well, on or between Friday, November 23rd and Monday, November 26th, or between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you'll save $10. So to get started on the Xbox One, navigate to the store and select the Xbox Design Lab tile near the bottom of the page. So that way you can do it right there on that box. Coolness. And the picture they got this, which is one I like. They've got this blue, like that, kind of like that camo color, but it's
Yeah.
blue. They got green, white, like a grayish black, and the brown, and then the blue camo colors. So do those in the design lab.
What do they call them?
Yeah.
Midnight Blue Forces, I think is the name.
Something like that. It's
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yep,
Midnight Blue
yep.
Forces. That's what it says.
Yep.
So that's cool. I'm almost tempted to get another one.
Yeah.
So
The controller addiction.
the last thing that I have, my last story ever.
Oof. I'm excited about this story too.
So Xbox will be at E3 2019. Yay! Oh, stop listening. I made the mistake and it's listening to me. Yes, stop listening. Now it's ignoring me.
Okay.
But anyways, they're going to be at E3 2019. Yay! Big surprise, right? And also, Nintendo will be at E3 2019. Yay!
In the way that they
Ooh.
are at E3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Which
they're
is a
going to
video recording. They're technically
Yeah.
not there.
Whatever you call
Yeah,
it.
exactly. But that's it. Sony will not. Sony, for the first time in 24 years, is skipping E3 2019. Shortly after they made their announcement that it would not be part of the expo, the Xbox Twitter account made it clear that Microsoft will be in attendance when they posted, "We can't wait to see you all at E3 2019." So, granted, the message doesn't guarantee a conference. Nintendo, for example, gave that format up several years ago, but it would be a surprise if we didn't get the traditional keynote from Microsoft. The one good thing about that Microsoft has going for them is, they got their own theater right across the
Yeah.
street. So, they're putting these shows on does cost millions of dollars. So it doesn't surprise me that, Sony and like EA's pulled out. They do their own event that's less cost to them. It's more of here's the theater and, let's just show trailers and bring people at it. They don't have to set up all this massive stuff that costs money. And Microsoft has their own theater, so they can do it at probably a reduced cost. But um, Sony didn't give any reason that I have seen why they're pulling out, but they are not going to be doing a being part of E3. Now, it doesn't mean that they won't be there. They might be doing what EA has done, and they might be set up across the street during the same time frame, or they're just not going to be there at all. They just said they're out.
Yeah, they might have a booth. They might just. It sounds to me just like they're not doing their keynote.
Yeah, maybe, and
Yeah.
maybe they're not. Maybe they'll just be a booth. Maybe they're not going to do a
Yeah.
show. But again, I heard someone was saying, I don't remember where, but you can only show up to E3 so many times in a row talking about the same games that are going to release that never do. Maybe it finally caught up with them.
Well,
They're going, wow, in 2019, yeah, the only thing we have to talk about is the things we've talked about the last 3 years that still aren't here.
well, and that's the thing where, when we were talking about E3 earlier in the year, that I was saying is like Sony's got to get off these announcing things 5, 6, 7 years down the road at E3, just to try to, ooh and ah everybody because it catches up with them. And then in the last couple of years, they have to focus on what's coming out this year, which
Yes.
they kind of did this year. And that's the thing, you're talking about how expensive it is. Nobody made Sony go and make this huge, massive experience with 3 theaters, and they had to do all this stuff last year. Like, nobody made them do that. They did it themselves, and it just blew up in their face.
They could have
Um,
saved a lot of money by not hiring Flute Boy.
yeah, so, but, but the thing is, they focused on Spider-Man, and they didn't really say much about Days Gone, which was supposedly coming out. But everything else was just kind of like, well, it could be coming out this year, but we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Is The Last of Us 2 coming out this year? Because they never really gave a date. So really, when they would come out to E3, they'd be talking about The Last of Us 2 and not Days Gone, but Kojima's game. And so they would literally be talking about the same stuff, like you said, for the last 3 or 4 years. So, I saw some funny comments like, well, it's easy not to lose something when you don't participate. They don't want to lose, so they're just not going to participate. And then the others were like in a lot of defense for them, like, well, they got their own experience and this and that. And I'm just sitting there thinking, it's like, you go to E3 because people go to see you. Like, they pack those theaters every year of fans and people watch and stream, and they were like selling out movie theaters. Like, a movie theater in Columbus, Ohio did a PlayStation thing for their stuff. Like, friends of mine went, like, they had a lot of fans doing that. And to me, I think the part that they are just absolutely forgetting is that they actually have fans, people that support them. And that's what makes me mad about this, is they are literally just saying, we don't care about you. We don't have any games to really talk about because they may or may not come out. So, but thanks for buying, but we've sold 80 million consoles, so it's okay. That burns me to no end when the defense of like IGN or whatever says, well, yeah, but those guys have sold over 80 million consoles. They don't have to show up. And I'm just like, oh, that's right. They don't have to show up for their fans and people that support them. It's okay. Just dump all over them. They gave you your money. That's good. That's the part that burns me the most about them. It's not an Xbox or a PlayStation thing. It's literally, they think they're king, and all their little minions and town folk that they just rule over has already given them their money or their taxes, so they're good to go. They don't have to do anything for them. That's what really bothers me about it. So, but then IGN will still say they won. That was the other funny comment.
that was, I thought that was funny.
I think I saw that in our group.
You already predicted IGN predicts Sony to win E3. Oh, that's funny. Well, here is an interesting thought on this, because I was listening again to another show this week, and when it's interesting because like this E3 takes place in June every year, and everybody is expecting, like, hey, you've got to give us new stuff. We want new stuff. We want new announcements, new stuff. But not every game and every company is going to be ready at the same date every year. It's so what I mean, I really personally, as much as I kind of like E3, I kind of liked this XO18 event. And you know, maybe that's what Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo need to do, is say, you know what, we're gonna skip this E3 thing, and we're just gonna do our own fan event where we're gonna put everything into that. It's all about the fans and not the media, because guess what? The media still was still, there were stories written on every announcement that was at XO18, even though the media wasn't invited. So we didn't miss out on any announcements. All the stories still got published. They still got their press, and now they could say, well, we're going to do it in different cities instead of always being in LA. They give other people throughout the world an opportunity to partake in some. I mean, if you guys watched it, those fans in Mexico were stoked. I mean, they were excited.
Oh, very.
Because it's like they got to partake of something like that. I remember when I went to PAX, it was just like I was excited just to be in the Microsoft booth area. I was just like, this is awesome, and I'm like, this is probably nothing compared to being at like an EXO event or E3, and sitting at that press conference and being a part of that. So I think that's really cool because it does put the money towards the fans. You're still getting your press out there. The stories are still going to get written, and you can schedule these for when it's best for you. Maybe June is not the best time to make announcements. And look at Microsoft, Sony have both had this problem of saying, "Oh, here's what's coming out." They're putting a press date because they feel pressure to talk about stuff. And if stuff's 2, 3, 4 years out, and they're trying to say, "Well, here's what's coming," but then every year it's like, "Oh yeah," and then it drops off, and then it gets canceled, like Scalebound or Fable, and it's like we questioned Crackdown, and I'm questioning Below. Now they're saying Below is going to be out by the end of the year, but we still don't have a release date. Crackdown, now we have a release date, and it's installed on our boxes. So I would say it's pretty firm, but I think it'd be better for these companies just to do their own thing when they want, and then not try to compete with everyone, and then just announce what you want. And I like what Microsoft has done in the past, where it's like, here's what's coming out the next year. Now, this past year, I think they started to kind of stretch beyond a little bit and kind of going back to what it used to be, back like doing what Sony does. And well, we don't really have a release date. I don't want to know that. Don't tell me a game 7 years in advance. That's just a waste. So, but we'll see.
It,
I
the,
liked it. It was cool.
yeah, the one thing about E3 is it's a collaboration of all the groups coming in at one place at one time to announce things, and it kind of, I mean, whether we want to say it kept people honest or not, we, I use that lightly, but it's something where Microsoft doesn't come and put out, like, say at the XO 18 announces something, and then all of a sudden Sony's like a week later saying, "Hey, we got our event now," just to try to one up them, and then Microsoft has to try to one up them. So a week later they're holding another event. You know what I mean? It's just like, do we get into where something like that's happening and then neither company wants to hold an event because they have to find out when the other company's holding one or not? It's the same thing of like Sony always gets to go last at E3. Like,
Yeah.
they loved going last at E3, and it's been said and told in other shows where they would wait and change. They would have 6 hours to change up their whole conference based on what Microsoft did.
Yep.
Oh, we're going to change the price. We're going to drop it $100. We're going to make a commercial, and this is how you share games between your friends by handing them, even though that's not true anymore, and they're full of crap. It's one of those things. I like at least being at E3 saying, "Hey, you guys are all going to be under the same roof, the E3 roof, that says you're going to give us some information about what your company's going to do for the people, for the fans, like what's your roadmap, what's your path that you're heading. It's up to you to decide, do you want to tell us 20 years out or a year out?" But I kind of liked that. In my honest opinion, with Sony not being here, the media and stuff can say all they want, like, oh, they want to lead more toward the PlayStation. What's their PlayStation experience? PSX.
PSX, yeah.
Like, they want to do PSX and stuff. Like, no, that's not why they're out of this. They're out of this so they don't get their teeth kicked in by Microsoft. Plain and simple. I know this is an Xbox podcast, but that is the absolute truth, and you won't make me just change my mind to anything else. They knew they had nothing, and they were going to get their teeth kicked in by Microsoft, so they wimped out. And if they want to prove me wrong, they can show up at E3, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to. So, and that's 100%. That's the only reason why people do things like that. People don't leave something unless they have nothing. Why did Nintendo leave E3 and do their own little video things, which are horrendous? Watch the last one when they went through every character for Super Smash Brothers.
It was terrible.
You know what I mean? The reason why they left, when did they leave? Oh, that was when the Wii U was coming out. Because the Wii U was a disaster and was flopping. So they're just like, all right, we're out. We had the one drummer guy on the Wii drums, the video of that and stuff like that from that E3. That's the reason why they left. They were tired of getting trounced by Microsoft and Sony. So they just ditched and left. And that's exactly why Sony's doing it. and I would say the same thing about Microsoft if they would have tried to bail out like 2 or 3 years ago, like after the whole TV matrix,
Oh
whatever
yeah,
that
TV
boast.
submarine.
Yeah, like I'm surprised that Microsoft didn't put the tail between their legs after getting their butts kicked and not coming back to E3. I would say the same thing about them if they would have left, but they didn't. They didn't. So
Yeah.
that's my thought.
I
So
I think, you could say you could look at the numbers and it's like, oh well, Microsoft has lost all 3 years. But, first of all, like the original Xbox came out at the end of that generation, you
mhm,
know, and they were like, let's just jump in. And that thing brought stuff new to the game, like the broadband and the hard drive, which has never been on any system. And then 360 brought us the live, Xbox Live, and achievements and, you know, things that like we weren't console updates. Like you never had a console update prior to that. Arcade games, and there was just so many things. And it's like the 360 was leading and was beating Sony pretty big in that era. At the end of the day, when the PlayStation 3 dropped in price, then yes, they ended up catching up and they sold more.
mhm.
But what did they really didn't bring anything to the game, you know? Same with PS4. Xbox One has done leaps and bounds and brought more content and going future. And now we're going to have streaming, and we've got game sharing, and with a Game Pass, and we've got game sharing digitally. There's just so many things that they're doing that I love. That it's like it makes sense, and it's like, well, what do you have on the Sony side? What are they doing? Everything that I ever see that they do is copying what Microsoft has done. And it's like years later, like what? I think wasn't it just this year, last year that they finally got the ability to change their name on PSN?
It's still
Or is still not?
still it's still not. It's going to be in beta, and based on what I've heard, the beta is not going well.
And
So don't bet
like
on it happening.
come on, how can you not change your name? Like this has been there from day one with Microsoft. It's just like this
I
company
listen.
is so they're just not thinking ahead. And they're going based on what's the PlayStation. It's like their name and that brand, and that's all that they're selling on. That's the only reason I think their success is because people are just buying into the brand that's been there for a long time. You
Yeah.
look at Microsoft, the Xbox family has nothing but success. And I'm not saying the PlayStation's not. It is a big success,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's
it is.
awesome. But when you look at the two companies, Microsoft is trying to give the they're listening to the end users and trying to give us what we want.
Yeah.
They're listening to us.
They push the envelope is basically they're
They do.
pushing the industry forward. Now I will say like Sony, as far as one thing that they have done like massively huge this year or this console generation and the end of the last one is their single player like story driven games, like a Last of Us and Horizon Zero
God of
Dawn and the new God of
War.
War and Spider-Man,
Yeah.
like those games are there's a lot of companies out there now that want to build games like that, and I think that's great, and that's what those companies have done. But as
But
far as
it
online game, and you look at was it Microsoft, how much they bashed Microsoft for saying always online consoles, and most people's like, well, maybe Microsoft is just ahead of their time, and they were actually kind of right, and I'm just like, yeah, but you guys in the media destroyed them, almost destroyed them,
yeah.
based saying it was dumb and stupid and things like that. And now here we are,
It
always online. Like, go ahead and play Fortnite on your PlayStation without online connectivity.
yeah.
Pretty sure it won't happen.
Yep.
So
I mean, we got people's got refrigerators that are online all the time.
Yeah.
yeah,
Your watch, your phone, your TV, everything is online all the time. People have got their freaking thermostat online all the time, and they're gonna cry about it. It was so stupid. Like
mhm,
the original view of the Xbox One, we're just now years later starting to get to what Microsoft really wanted,
right.
And it's just like, come on, people, get on board. And I wish Microsoft would have said, I don't care what you say, we're doing it anyways.
Right.
Because I really believe the Xbox One would be even better today than it is now, is if they just stuck to their vision, you know?
Guaranteed
But
when
Yeah.
when that Xbox One came out, you could the interface, everything looked like it got stripped out, didn't it?
Yes.
They must
Mhm.
have just pulled everything out of it, and now they've spent the last couple of years slowly putting things back.
Yep.
Yeah. The Dawn Matrix or mate with
Done.
Yeah.
yeah,
Non-matter.
like whatever. That's I know like Lethal is not a I can point at Lethal on chat here. He is not a Phil Spencer fan, and like we all know that, and that's his opinion. That's great, but Phil Spencer is what has turned around Xbox
Yes.
from that initial launch. Even if the man has made good decisions, has made bad decisions. Canceling games here or there probably wasn't the smartest thing, but I'm telling you, they're buying up studios. They're ready to make games now. Expect 4 or 5 years from now for that to start to pay off. So
Yeah, and other shows I've listened to, and other people who are professionals, if you will, over us who are hobbyists here, don't believe Microsoft's done shopping.
no,
And I'm like, well, I don't know. I kind of thought that after these two, it's like, yeah, I think they're probably done, but others are saying they're not done, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. If I could have one, so I wanna ask you guys this question,
hmm
and I'll start by saying mine, so you guys don't steal it. If there was one developer that you would love to see Microsoft buy and come under, and it can be any developer, to purchase them and put them into Microsoft Studios family, who would you want to see come on board? Now, to me, my answer is going to be CD Projekt Red, and I
oof.
I would love to see Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 4 be
Mhm.
Xbox only or Xbox PC only.
Yeah.
I think that would be a huge steal, and that would be an amazing company to get. I don't think it'll happen, but
I'll
what
let
about you
Rob.
guys?
I'll let Rob go next because I think he's actually going to say probably the same one I would say.
So I would go for the upset with Epic Games.
Oh, okay. Never mind. You didn't say what I was going to say.
What are you thinking, Bren?
Oh, I thought you were going to say like Arcane.
Ooh, yes.
So they make Dishonored.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was hoping you would say. I was hoping you would say Arcane because then I would say Bungie. And not only would they buy them back, they would make them crawl backwards on their knees, begging
Nope.
Microsoft to buy them.
Nope, we don't
And when
want
they
Bungie
would,
back. Don't want
huh?
them back.
Oh no,
Don't
no,
want
no!
'em
I'll
back.
take them back. I'll take them back.
You know
I'm
what? We're
glad.
gonna have Anthem out here pretty soon, and it's gonna kick Destiny's butt.
I'm looking forward to that game too.
Yes, sir.
That would be a good studio, but obviously, we've heard there was what was the rumors a while, like a couple 3-4 months ago. Microsoft, when they were before they talked about who they were going to buy, wasn't there rumors of there being like Epic or EA or something like that, like buying up a big studio or publisher? I was like, can you imagine if because Microsoft could, and then I heard a joke yesterday. What happens if Microsoft would buy Sony? Because they could afford it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
Now they wouldn't have to go there. I wouldn't really want them to. I like the
either I would not
competition.
either. Yep, I wouldn't
Um,
either.
so, and I'm glad that I'm glad the Sony PlayStation's there and Nintendo, and it's just, if we didn't have it, then we just have the same old thing all the time. There'd be no move to give us all the great goodness that we've got. So if you want to know how far stuff has gone in 10 years, go back and play a game that was made on the 360 in 2008.
Mm.
Maybe Just Cause. You can see how it's changed, man. And it's just like, wow, it really hasn't been that long. You know, I don't think 10 years is, I got to double check on that date. Maybe it has to, but I could have swore they said 2008 that it came out, but that can't be right. It's probably more like 2000,
Yeah, Lethal Migraine has
2006. So 2006 that game came out. So we're 12 years ago, you know.
Yeah.
My goodness, has the world changed.
Oh yeah.
It's like, wow. If you haven't gone back and played something that old, it's eye-opening, and same with the console. Think about what the original Xbox, the original PlayStation had and what they have today. And they're still planning, both companies are planning for new ones. So, it's amazing. I'm excited, you know, bring it on.
Square Enix would be another interesting one,
Yeah.
and then that would just be for their IP.
I'm surprised neither of you said Rockstar.
They would never get Rockstar. They couldn't
No, I'm
afford
just
it.
it didn't matter. That's
Yeah.
the
Oh
thing.
yeah. Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
never get
Yeah.
CD Project Red either, but I'm
Mm,
throwing it out there.
yeah.
To me, that would be like, what a great deal.
Yeah.
Um, Things I think they will probably get, and I'm surprised they haven't acquired yet, is what is it? The Cuphead studio, MDHR, I think. The developers of Cuphead, like,
I thought they.
right?
I thought they got them.
Mm-mm. That's
Oh.
an independent. That's independent. They're not in part of Microsoft's,
Oh. Okay.
but they've only developed for Microsoft.
Right. Huh.
But I think that's we know there's some DLC or a sequel or something's coming out here pretty soon for Cuphead, and go grab a Microsoft. That game's amazing, hard as can be, but amazing.
Yeah. Very true.
So
So with CD Project Red, why do you think that they can't get them? Cost or
I
They
think
could get them.
I they got the money. Money's not the issue. I just don't think that they would. Sometimes that's a successful company. They've been very successful and profitable, and I don't think they would want to quote sell out or have any chance of Microsoft trying to change their viewpoint. And that's one of the things that I think it was Phil, or oh no, who was the guy that came on and talked EXO. But anyways, it's been stated that the studios that Microsoft has been buying is they're planning to stay hands off.
Yep.
They want these
yeah,
guys to, they don't want to step in and go, no, you need to make your game this way. They want it to be, no, you do what you do because you know what you're doing.
Right.
We're here to write checks and
Yeah.
and assist when you run into issues. We have lots of people on the hardware side that can figure it out.
Yeah. And the thing with CJ, any of these companies that we mentioned, the thing that they lose the most is where are they going to release their games? Like, yes, it's if they're releasing multi-platform and PC, yes, you're cutting out one platform. So if you go and look at Red Dead 2, how many is it sold? Is it like 20 million or 15 million or something like that right now? Let's say 10 million, say it's 15 million and 10 million of it is on the PlayStation and 5 million of it is on Xbox. It doesn't really matter the number of consoles that they've sold because 10 million of 80 million consoles is nothing. That's nothing. You know, and we know Red Dead's successful.
Yeah, there's
So
no info yet.
okay.
At least on VG charts, they don't have anything
Yeah,
on what's
it'd be
been
different
sold.
if Red Dead has sold 70 million and 50 million of it was from PlayStation and 20 was from
Yeah,
Xbox. That would be something where it's like, okay, we don't want to be bought unless you're going to consume some of those costs, which they would. That's the whole thing about being a first party studio.
yeah,
But if you're, CD Project Red and that game, like what's the sales that they're shooting for? Are they shooting for 10, 15 million? Because I think they'll still hit 10, 15 million regardless if they're one console or not. Because the people that want that game, that were dying over that game when it got released, if it's on PlayStation, they will buy a PlayStation for it. If it's on Xbox, they will buy an Xbox for it. Or if it's on PC, they'll play it there, if they have
right.
one to handle it. So I don't really think that type of stuff matters anymore. So
So looking in terms of like revenue, going back to, Microsoft picked up Mojang for what,
Yeah.
2 billion,
Right.
Yeah.
and their revenue in 2015, which I think was a year after they bought them, it was 4.2 billion.
Hmm.
So um so that was their revenue. CD Projekt Red last year, their revenue was 463 million. So they bought
463 what?
Million.
million. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which is a lot. I mean, that's nothing to discount, but they bought a company that had a lot more revenue for a lot more
Right.
money. So I would think that they could still go after CD Projekt.
Right. It's not the money thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They Microsoft has the money to go after anybody they want.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. Again, like Bungie never wanted to be owned by Microsoft, and they eventually left.
They just didn't
You
want to
know,
make another Halo. They were the one of the groups that was being told kind of what to do. Is like, hey, you're making Halo, and they're like, we don't want to make Halo anymore. And Microsoft was like, okay, you can go make something else, but we are going to retain
Halo.
the
Halo.
Halo franchise, and
Right.
we're going to have another group make
Right.
it. That's why, like, if Bungie came back or they bought Bungie back, they wouldn't be forced to make Halo. They'd be making something else. And you're right about the
Marathon.
hands-off part. That's the part I think that allows Microsoft to buy these companies up and just say, "Hey, we're going to be hands off. We're going to be your bank if you need us, and you're going to be expected to make the great content you always make, and people will buy your content regardless if it's just on our console or not."
Yeah, and
So,
they're buying these studios because they want different. They're trying to fill the gap of games that we don't have, where
right,
they want, hey, these things that have been successful. We want more stuff like that. We want these. These are good teams. So it's more of the talent too that they're buying, and the different. So what was it they bought? So In Exile and Obsidian, right?
Yes.
yeah,
Both make RPGs, but they're different RPGs. Like they're different styles. It's not, and I know I was hearing that there was like people saying, oh, well, they're gonna just combine them into one. No, they're buying these because these studios have talent. They want their different styles of games on this platform. And this also, again, remember, Microsoft is a service. This Xbox Live Game Pass, it's all a service. Now that you're releasing Xbox Studio games into Game Pass, and that's your goal is to make Game Pass bigger, have more games in there, you got to buy studios,
yeah,
because now they're putting the content into their own. They're buying these guys to put content into Game Pass to make it bigger and more enjoyable to a wider audience. It's like Netflix. Netflix wouldn't be good if it only had action movies. There's a ton of stuff on there, like Spanish movies. I'm like, why am I seeing all these Spanish only movies? Like, I wish there was a way to filter it out, but they're you can pretty much watch anything you want on there, and for one monthly price. And that's what Game Passes they're trying to be. So getting these studios and stuff is more geared towards we're gonna get this content. We're gonna have a lot of content. We're putting it to Game Pass because that's where we want people. We don't they're getting away from having to buy the 60, 80, $100 games every month. And it's like $10 a month and I just get them, you know, because Microsoft has that guaranteed money coming in every month from Live. So they get me every year with Gold, and they get me every month with Game Pass, and I'm a customer. I'm
yeah,
gonna stick around. It's like guaranteed money for them. And if you take, if you get so they've got like 50 million people on Live, right? Think about what those people are paying. Even if you paid $40 a year, if everybody paid the yearly rate, okay, and got it at 40 or $50, how much money is that? It's an insane amount of money. It more than covers everything they need. Now they're adding on $10 a month for Game
mhm,
Pass. And if all those 50 million people were to go and get on Game Pass, now they're paying $120 a year plus their, 50 to $60 a year for live. We're looking at almost $200 a year that 50 million people are paying. That's a lot of coin.
Yeah.
You can more than enough pay for all that stuff.
And
Yeah.
one thing that I think Microsoft has as a huge advantage is that they have a ready built infrastructure with Azure, where a lot of other companies they have to invest to do any kind of gaming system. You know what I mean? It's like they can leverage
Yeah.
these massive data centers that they have around the world that they have built for the business infrastructure side of their business. And you know, it's such a huge profit. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like you're taking in, 160, 200 a year from all these people like us, for example, and using the majority of that to build out data centers, to build out this stuff. It's going straight to the bottom line, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that was a
Yeah,
long whew, that was my last story, and that one took a long
that's a
time.
good one.
Perfect.
All of that stemmed from Sony not going to E3. I
That's
love
perfect.
I just loved how this just kind of went out into this conversation, guys. This was fun. I
Yes.
Yeah.
enjoyed that. Thank you for that.
That's the good stories, when they're good, when they lead to 35, 40-minute conversation and you're just like, how'd we start this thing? Oh, we don't know. That's great. That's good that you didn't get to that.
It all started with Clash Royale. No.
Yes. Brawl Stars. On a side note, I did look up to see how much the licensing fees were for Blu-ray players, and it looks like it's $9.50.
Wow.
So not a whole lot, but or at least per console. Well, actually, on a $200 console, that's what 5%. Yeah, 5% of the cost, right there.
Well, and you got to buy the drive.
Yes,
So
which may or may not have to have special hardware in it, and so forth.
that's what I mean. The form factor makes it smaller, or you could even slap in another fan or something if you needed to. Cut
Hmm.
it down half the size, put another fan in there. It would be great for the Xbox One X.
Hmm.
It just people need to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
It's funny. We've been talking about saying going discless for how many years? What, 3-4 years now? And they keep making discs, but the more people talk about it, they're just like, yeah, it's going to make sense because games are going to go up in price, or they have to figure out how to make more money. And cutting out making discs and stuff is a way to save money and make more money on your current $60 game. So
Yeah, because when they make these physical retail copies of these games, who knows how many of them wind up in a dump in Alamogordo, right?
right, yep.
ET phone home.
Mhm.
And I also want to mention about that whole thing about these companies pulling out, because if you look back, pulling out of E3 and all that is, if you look back at the history of these conferences and so forth. I mean, we really had, there was a whole bunch of coin op um, conventions like years ago, and then when the whole PC thing started, the gaming systems kind of latched onto like CES and all that. So you had your computers, you had your gaming systems, you had electronics, vacuum cleaners, whatever, ovens. They were all at CES. And then in the mid 90s, that's when they bailed. The gaming systems bailed and they went over to E3. For whatever reason, I know they wanted their own forum for everything, and uh, you know, you're moving from Las Vegas with CES at the time, going to E3 in Los Angeles, and I happened to have the rather unfortunate luck. I think it was in '96 that this happened, where I got to go to CES the
Are you
year
still
that they
there?
didn't show up. The game systems bailed and they went to E3. So I was walking around CES like, where is everything? There's nothing here.
Mhm.
That kind of sucked a lot, but Las Vegas was fun otherwise. But they went over to E3, and they've been there for a long time now. But when you look at the cost of going to any of these shows, what does that get you? It gets you press, but you can get press many different ways. You look at E3. I mean, I think we looked at going out there a while back. It's like $1,000 a ticket, isn't it? Isn't that what it was, like 900 some dollars? Just
I'm not even sure.
yeah, to get a ticket. I could have sworn it's like $900,000 for a ticket. Not to mention hotel and stuff like that. So it's like, who really gets to go anyway? It's like you get like trade people, people from other companies, and so forth. So to some degree, it makes sense why Nintendo, for example, does their video thing. It's like, why put on a big show when you can, for $50,000, $100,000, you can put your what 20-minute infomercial out, 40-minute infomercial, and just play it on. People can consume it on YouTube or wherever. And Sony pulling out makes sort of sense, for many reasons, including stuff that we talked about. Although I don't know where people are going to get their, in 2019, where they're going to be able to hear a pan flute. What do you think, Zamfir or something like that? Or you can
Mhm.
spend 15 minutes watching, digital grass, like, or wheat or whatever that was, just wave
Get it
back and
all
forth.
on YouTube.
Yeah. So I don't know if there was a cost to get into XO18. Do you guys know?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, from a fan perspective, I think something like PAX, XO, or whatever else is a lot more attainable. That's like the common person can go there. And that's in the end the people that matter. You know, E3 is really just people that are kind of lucky to go, that have a lot of disposable income for a ticket, or they're in the industry and then they're going there because of work. And is who does Microsoft really want to appeal to, the
Right.
fans or a competitor, or you know what I mean? I'm not saying that Microsoft should get out of E3, but I personally really like what they did with XO. I thought that was fantastic. We talked about that last week. We mentioned it today as well. And, that's cool what they did. And in many ways, I thought it was better than E3, at least from the perception of it. And, it was somewhere where none of us probably would have been able to go. It was in Mexico City. It's, again, not something that we would have gone to, but, would you guys say it would make sense for a company like Microsoft, instead of going to E3 and making that huge presentation? It is in what, the Microsoft Theater across the street, but
Right.
they probably just pay their name to put it on the theater over there, and they still have to pay to use it just like everybody else. So it's not a free thing for them, but it's still got to be pretty expensive because all those rates go up anywhere when it's a huge convention going on in town. But would it make more sense for them to do a lot more smaller shows, like if they like go to PAX, if they, because you, Mark, you went, what was that one that you went to, that was PAX West?
PAX West.
Yeah. If they have like an awesome show like PAX West, they do like 3 4 shows a year, like one a
Yeah.
quarter, and they forego E3. We could go. Maybe they could go to Gen Con. I'd love that. Never happened, but uh, it would that be better? Because it's more attainable to us and our listeners because we can actually go. Because
Right.
geographically, it might be close. They'd have to have stuff around the world, I'm sure. Something in Europe and all, but it's I think times are changing. Times are changing, and maybe this
Well, think
is
about
the
how much
next.
money they spend on E3.
Yeah.
They could purchase one of those traveling semi trucks with Xboxes and stuff and travel all over the country,
Sure.
spend a year going out into all the cities and all the states and letting the fans, kind of get hands on and stuff and give them little Jotskis and Game Pass coupons and, let them see it. It is getting into the hands of the people, letting them see it. And it's probably, they could probably do it a lot cheaper than one show of at E3.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I agree.
Because that's got to be millions of dollars to have the presence over there.
Oh yeah, I'm
Maybe
sure it is.
tens of millions. Well, I don't know about tens of millions, but still a lot.
And not to mention these people from probably from January on to June in the industry. That's all they're doing. They're spending 6 months out of the year prepping for this one show.
Mm-hmm.
They're going doing scripts, working on getting what games are they going to do, talking with all these, hey, we need to get builds for this, and it's the amount of hours and manpower and money is probably not even, you probably can't even add it up because it extends beyond just Microsoft. Think of all the developers that they're working with that are going to be on stage, that are going to do demos, that are going to build a level, that are, all that stuff has to be planned out way in
Right.
advance, tested, scripted, run through. They got to fly everybody there. They got to get the equipment put in. They got to do all the testing, and it's insane, you know. And the hotels aren't $40 a night,
Mm-mm.
so they ain't staying at a Motel 6. So
I've never looked into it, but I know like at Gen Con, which is downtown Indy, right around Gen Con, those hotels around the convention center, they're all like 250 plus. Okay.
yeah,
And this is downtown Indy. All right. Not like a super busy place like Los Angeles.
right.
Like in LA, it's got to be like 3, 4, 500 a night. Easy.
Probably here in Seattle, I've 350 a night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's insane. So,
Yeah.
but anywho,
Yeah. Anywho. Alrighty. We done with that? I think we're done with
Yep.
yep.
that. Alrighty, couple quick announcements. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, you can go to thisxboxlife.com and then over on the right hand side, or that side, right hand side of the screen, you can click on the little voicemail widget. Leave us a voicemail up to 90 seconds. It does truncate it, I guess. If you want to talk longer, you can leave multiple, or you can just record yourself, send us an MP3 to contact at this Xbox Life. And if you send us a recording, we will play it on the air. You can ask us whatever you want. Let us know your thoughts and so forth. And we did get a message from CatFlap1970. And let's see what CatFlap has to say.
Good morning, chaps. CatFlap1970 here from the UK. I am way behind on my episodes of your show. I've just done 12, so I've completely caught up with people staying, leaving, going, and many Comic-Con type things, or whatever they call them. Well, lots of change within the show. We'll continue to support you guys and listen every week. Forza, what an amazing game. I've been playing it on my rather large 1080p projector and been feeling motion sickness from it. So, yeah, maybe it's because I'm getting old. Who knows? Red Dead, I'm going to be diving into Red Dead. Any recommendations from you in the community? Do I get standard edition, special edition, ultimate edition? I'm going to buy it regardless, so I'm going to get it, guys, but I don't know which one to buy. I'm not too worried about the money, to be honest, but which one shall I buy? Advice, please, gentlemen, would be most appreciated.
All right, thanks, CatFlap, for sending that message in. So, guys, he, I guess, mentioned two things. Number one, he was looking for recommendations on the Red Dead Redemption versions: standard, deluxe, Uber, Mega Horse, Wilbur, whatever the versions are.
Yeah,
Any
I
thoughts?
went I just went with standard.
Yeah, I
I
do
Same
too.
don't I don't see the big benefit out of the other ones because the game is massively huge and you're going to be able to get things in the game. So I just went with standard.
Yeah, I did as well. Some of that stuff, it's appealing when you're getting it, and um, but when you look at it, it's like, how much of it are you actually going to play? Because
Right.
Brun, I suffer through the same scenario that you do, where I lose interest in games and I never finish a lot of them.
Yeah.
And like what is that? What's that big one? What is it, like $110, $120? Like I think it's like
It,
119,
it was up there. I
109.
mean, it just like in any game though, it's like, oh, here's a skin or here's an outfit.
Yeah.
They're giving you that outfit, but there's always going to be one better in the game. So I just kind of leave it at that. And of course, EA's doing like this Battlefield launch. Everybody's confused. Like it's one of those things like we're getting ready to say like Battlefield 5 comes out on the 20th of November, but people have been playing it for like the last week or something because nobody knows when they get to start to playing the game because it's like, oh, if you spend this much money, it's this day, and if it's this day, and if you have this, it's this day, or if it's regular, it's this day. And it's just like, just launch the game already, for crying out loud.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, I just went with standard. I don't feel like I'm missing anything that's in the other stuff.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think there's so much gameplay in the standard that
Mm.
yeah, you can't go wrong. And who knows, the way things are going with a lot of these games, by the time you even get close to being done, then the like add-on stuff is like half price or it's on sale, deeply discounted. Kind of like how some of the stuff is in the Black Friday sale. Okay. And then he also mentioned that he's playing Forza Horizon on a huge projector. He's getting motion sickness. That's remember that projector, Mark?
Yep.
Back in my old place, I had was it 110-inch, I think, projector screen. It was all like home built, and projector technology back then was, wow, this is like 15, 20 years ago. Was a lot different than it is now, but it was a huge screen, and I remember playing. I think Mark, because I'm sure we've told this story a bunch of times now, where you were playing like Call of Duty, the original one, on the screen, and I was standing in the room, and I found myself like leaning as you were playing.
I remember.
Yeah.
Well,
So
the motion sickness could be because of the screen, or it could be because he's looking at crap on the screen. That game's garbage.
Forza Horizon
Sorry.
4? Wow.
Yes, junk.
Yeah.
You got.
How do you feel about that?
Oh man, I mean, I've AI cars that don't slide in the mud. That's crazy. You're
Yeah.
the only one that slides. It's amazing.
Slide into
Very
those
realistic.
rock
That's
walls.
no.
Go right
In all
through
honesty, the game is super pretty. I had fun for what I did play, but that was
Mhm.
one of the things I did kind of chuckle at. I'm just like, oh, I'm doing a dirt race and we're sliding around the mud, and I'm the only one sliding. Everything else is just perfect, like they're on pavement.
Rails, yeah.
So yeah, that's AI and racing games has to improve at some point in time. But really, can you picture how they could improve it? Like, I can't think of any way to improve it. I'm not a game designer either,
Yeah.
but I mean, you got to tell the computer what to do. And unfortunately, they're all doing perfect line, perfect braking, perfect acceleration, no sliding in the mud. So, but
Yeah, it's definitely tough in
yeah,
some degrees compared to some of these other games, and it is beautiful. I think it's a lot harder to control on this one than previous versions. I don't know why, but
yeah, I get that too. Seems like the turning either wants to catch and it catches really hard, or it just doesn't catch at all. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
you either break loose really easy, or it's just like, oh, I just want to turn left, a little bit, 90 degrees. What? It's, I'm spinning out into the marble wall or marble fences, like you say you like, Rob,
Oh
from
yeah,
last week's
the
show.
rock,
Yeah, I laughed when you said
stone
that. You're
walls.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, I need a wall to stop my turn. I just start laughing because I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. Who knows? Maybe it's different with those super expensive, what, $250 force feedback wheels.
Oh, who knows?
Maybe it plays better with those.
Yeah.
Who knows? That's out of my price budget.
Yeah.
Not to mention, do they still cause your house to go on fire like those old ones in
No,
the
they fixed that.
360? Okay,
Mm.
good. Alrighty. Okay. Thanks for that message, Catflap. And again, if you'd like to hear yourself on the show, just send us a voicemail or an MP3 to contact at this Xbox Life. Also, we've got a Twitter account. You can find that at thisxboxlife.com/Twitter, or just search for at this Xbox Life. We have a Facebook group. It's a closed group. If you're not a member already, you can just search for it, this Xbox Life. Ask for ask to be a member. We will approve you as long as you answer 2 super easy questions. And it's a closed group, which just basically means that when you are in the group, any messages that you post are seen only by other group members. And we've got a whole bunch of messages, questions from members this week. Here, I'll take the first one. And this is from Joe. Joe writes in, Anthem, how popular is that game going to be in the multiple player aspect? That it'll take players from other games. For instance, I'm a huge Destiny 2 player right now, but I feel once this game drops, I will spend most of my time on Anthem.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not that Destiny's bad or anything, but I think a lot of people have done everything they want to do in Destiny, unless they're like somebody like myself who just started playing. Like I have plenty more to do in Destiny. But Destiny's been out for over, for 2 years now. So, or is it 2 years or going on 2 years? Going on 2 years. Um, Going on its second year. I can't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Anthem is something new. It's taking a page out of like the Destiny and Division type book, that type of game. So I think it's going to probably do well. So I think a lot of people are excited for it.
As long as the servers are ready on day one.
True.
It is an EA title, so
Yeah, that
but
is true.
yeah, I agree. I'm pretty stoked for I watched a 45-minute thing on Anthem the other day, and all they did was it was the devs, and they were
Oh,
going through like art, the armor sets, and like
Hmm.
how you can change all these different aspects, and they were talking about the layers and materials, and I'm like, wow, this is in depth,
oh,
and it was just armor.
that's
Like there
nuts.
was nothing else they showed, but just seeing that, I was like, oh man, this game's gonna rock. I was
Yeah.
Mm.
like, I'm really looking forward to it. So
I hope it's one of those where you can go and customize it like crazy if you want.
yes, it
But
is.
for people that don't want to, like myself, I hate rolling characters, if you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
in some of these games and dealing with stats, I just want to play.
Yeah, no,
I hope they
this
have that.
you can just like click a button. There's like these armor sets and stuff that you can just oh, here's one. Like they have an N7 one, you just click it,
Yeah.
you know. And but you can go in and like customize like so much on your character if you want to. But I think, what I'm hoping for is exactly what Brun said. Something like a Destiny um what was the other one? The Division. Like,
Hmm.
I love The Division, and I do like Destiny. I do enjoy it a lot, and I think if Anthem can to me, Anthem feels more of like I'm gonna enjoy it more than Destiny maybe, just from what I'm seeing. There's a lot of I don't know how to explain it. But Destiny kind of loses me with I think with the lore and the story and you know, I just want more of like like a Titanfall. Just go in
Yeah.
and destroy stuff and just
There
keep giving me missions like the Division is like great for that. You got storyline and you got and every missions feel different and you're just tearing stuff up and you can upgrade your character and it's I really like I think what they're doing. And I think it's gonna be fun with 4-player co-op and stuff. It just looks really cool.
Yeah, it's the genre, the type of game at a high level is Destiny and Division type of game.
Yeah.
I think they are going. It is going to be a different game than a Destiny and Division, so which is
Right.
going to be great as far as separation.
Right.
But you will hear that those are what it's going to be compared to because it's that type of game.
And Division 2 comes out right behind this game.
Oof, yeah.
So,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. So, I think
Yeah.
in March, I wanna say. I think it's like a month later, so
Yeah.
but I think Anthem will get a lot of game time.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it'll be very popular, and it's coming out February 22nd, I think. So Crackdown even got bumped ahead because Crackdown was coming out the same day. They actually moved it a week up,
Yeah.
which
Smart.
is awesome. Yeah, and, but, yeah, it's I will be getting both of these, so without a doubt.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
Do you want me to take the next one?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Brian asks, "What's your favorite and least favorite Thanksgiving food?" Guys, who wants to go first?
I'll go. My least favorite has got to be black olives. I used to love them when I was a kid, and I'd steal them off people's plate at Thanksgiving. Now I can't stand them.
Oh yeah.
My
I don't think
most
they're food.
favorite,
Like they're like kale, but
yeah.
not a food.
Uh, my favorite, my favorite food. It's. I mean, it's the turkey. It's a couple things. It's like turkey, stuffing, and pumpkin pie. I
Cool.
can't pick those 3 are like I
Yeah.
can't pick one over it's all 3 of them. So,
Yeah.
and least favorite is, like I said, the black olives, but if you're not considering that a food, then, I don't know. I've not run into a least favorite. I think pretty much everything I eat.
So,
I'm a big guy.
question on the olives. I mean, how do you have olives on Thanksgiving? Are they just
I
like loose
They're
as part of a
part
salad,
of a
or
like a meat tray or
Like a
something like
relish
that.
yeah,
Relish
like
like
a
an
tray.
relish
Yeah.
tray
appetizer
or something
relish
that's
thing?
Mm.
Okay.
yeah, they're just
Yeah.
sitting there and people can
Hmm.
eat them.
Pickles, carrots, ranch,
Yes, pickles.
celery.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, that type of thing.
Yep. Sitting there with the pickles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rob, what about you?
So this is a tough one. So my favorite, I'll have to say, is any kind of carb. So whether it's bread, mashed potatoes, or stuffing, that is my
Yes.
favorite, more than the turkey.
Oh,
The turkey gets in the way sometimes of
no, you haven't had my turkey.
I might have. I don't know.
No.
We've had a couple Thanksgivings together.
Yeah, but those were not my turkeys. That was the wife's turkey.
Ah, okay.
I actually cook the turkeys now
Ah, I
on the
got you.
Traeger.
Oh yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah, speaking of which, I did a turkey sous vide last year. That was interesting. You can't say that that wasn't juicy. That's for sure. You base sous vide, you cook it in a bag in water,
Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
so I mean the thing is basically wet meat when you take it out. Super juicy. But so the thing that I like the least though, that's kind of a tough one, and I'd have to say that um, sometimes homemade desserts that people bring. That's my
Ooh,
least favorite. Yeah, sometimes you don't have them and you're like, yeah, I don't know.
that's interesting.
But how about you, Brun?
I like the olives. Not liking the olives is a good one. I'm not an olive fan either. But
Yeah, me neither.
um, my family, they have beets. Like I'm not a beets guy.
Like the
Ugh.
sliced
So
beets
yeah, like sliced beets. I'm
or
not
borscht.
sliced.
Yeah.
So I would say that would probably be my least favorite. My favorite would have to be a combination between ham. I'm a big ham guy, so we got like spiral, cut ham and stuff. But I live in a very small town, which is surrounded by other small towns, and it's those towns where older generations may not have left or have had much, growing up, back in the day. So they were all very keen and well and just great at baking. So when you're talking about homemade desserts,
Mhm.
the pies that Devin's grandma makes and stuff are just like out of the park. Awesome. Like the apple pie,
Sure.
like her apple pie. I love her apple pie. She makes peach and berry pie, which the wife and all her siblings, they like the pie comes in, they'll cut and hide pieces. And be like, "Oh, I haven't got my pie yet," and then they'll have it, but then they'll have some stored away for later.
Nice.
It's hilarious to watch. I mean, it is absolutely fun to watch. But you know, my grandma McGreevy and her pie and the homemade noodles and stuff. It's crazy. But ham, what I would have to say be my favorite. So
So ham is your favorite? Like,
yeah, ham. I like
so you
yeah.
prefer ham over turkey?
Yeah, I'm not a turkey guy. Like I do like turkey, but um, yeah, I'm not 100% into it.
Yeah.
So,
No, like I've had actually I think it was 2 years ago I did a spiral ham glazed for Thanksgiving. It was
yeah.
phenomenal. I love
Hmm.
glazed ham.
Yep.
Alrighty.
All right.
Mark, you want to take
Next.
the next one?
Yeah, this is from David. It says, Mark, do you miss the Chicago snow around the holidays? We currently have about an inch or two on the grass. Yes, I do. I love snow. I grew up with snow my whole life. And then ever since I moved to Arizona, I didn't see it there. And I've had snow the last 2 winters since I've been here to Washington. Even though they said they never get snow, we've seen it both years. So I'm hoping for it again this year. Usually we get it for a day and that's about it. But
How
it's
much
still
though? Like an inch or two or
Oh, dude, the first year I was here, the first winter, we had 8 inches in
oh
one
wow.
day, and it was
Nice.
and here it's like it just it's not like anywhere else. Like I grew up in North Dakota, so it was like everything drifted because it was so windy. And then, kind of the same in Chicago. It didn't just here in Washington, it just falls and there's no wind and all the trees and everything is just beautiful. So winter out here is gorgeous. So, but it's heavy too. It's heavy and wet. So, like last year, I had to go out with this big giant stick and start hitting the tree limbs because they were like on the ground. Like it gets so heavy. But we had like 8 inches in one day. Because I even went out with a tape measure and it just piled up on my railing of my deck. I was like, "Yep, 8 inches of snow."